Welcome, Star Wars fans, to this special episode of Tatooine Sons. Star Wars fans woke up on Thursday morning with both excitement and reservation. The Disney Investor Day was coming, but no one really knew if it was going to be a Merry Christmas or a Bah Humbug. Well, Santa came early, and he looked a lot like Kathleen Kennedy. 7 new Star Wars productions were announced, including the name of the Christmas 2023 release being directed by Patty Jenkins of the Wonder Woman franchise. But that's not all. We also got updates on Bad Batch, Andor, and the shocking revelation that Hayden Christensen is returning to the saga as Darth Vader in Obi Wan Kenobi. We've got a lot to discuss. Buckle up, baby.
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!
It's time for Tatooine Sons.
It's true. All of it.
What is the name of the porg on the Millennium Falcon?
Force is strong in my family.
What do you think his name is? It's a big moment.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Maybe Turbis?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Turbis? Pablo, if you're listening to this live stream, that porg's name is now Turbis. It's a good Star Wars name.
We're not done yet.
These guys record an awesome podcast called Tatooine Sons. Everybody listen.
Welcome, Star Wars fans. This is Tatooine Sons, your weekly look into all things Star Wars from the unique perspective of a father sharing his love for the amazing space fantasy saga with his 2 sons. I am BB Nate, and I'm joined first by my brother, Samuel Hutt.
Samuel Hutt?
Samuel the Hutt.
Samuel the Huttster. Samuel Hutt.
You're the Huttster.
Shoot to Star Wars fans, thanks for tuning in. And if you're not a Star Wars fan, then there was probably still plenty of stuff on that Investors Day call that you're excited
If you're a Marvel fan, you're going to have a very good 2021.
If you're a Disney fan at all.
I don't know. Some of the stuff in there kind of didn't interest me at all. But anyway, this isn't a Disney podcast, so that's good. So,
and of course, you can't have Star Wars without bizarre father figures. So on that note, here's my dad, the Bowtie Jedi guy.
You know, there's an old saying, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Yeah.
I got a bad feeling about this.
This should be like a family motto. It should probably be like on our 50th, when your mom and I celebrate our 50th anniversary. That should probably be on like the invitation because that's been our lives. But that's the way this episode's going to go. This episode is not going to be about The Mandalorian.
No.
This episode is not going to be about one of the dynamic droids of Star Wars. This episode that you're listening to right now is all about a very unexpected Thursday afternoon and evening when they announced... What was it?
11.
There's 11 productions in the works right now. We knew about several of those, but 7 of them are brand new that we had no clue about. When we woke up Thursday morning, did you really think that we were going to get anything like this?
No,
I thought we were getting a couple, maybe 3 announcements at most, and I would have been fine with that. But
yeah, what would those have been?
Just like the
Mando season 2 or 3.
Well, we already knew about that.
Like Ahsoka, you probably would have thought we'd have gotten
Ahsoka
and Kenobi.
Yeah, I mean, I was just
we knew about Kenobi coming, but
like just updates on Ahsoka and Kenobi and maybe one other series, but nothing.
Yeah, nothing to the extent that we got. That was nuts.
Yeah, I don't think that any. And Twitter was full of people that were kind of wondering if there was even going to be anything that was going to be announced.
I was hopeful.
And then I saw Matt Martin, our good old buddy, at Missing Words on Twitter is his Twitter handle. And about an hour and a half before the start of the Investors Day, he retweeted Disney's tweet about it and said, you probably want to tune into this. And then I'm like, okay, this thing's going to be real.
Yeah.
So we tuned it in. We put it on there, cast it to our screen. Well, we watched it the first hour, the boring stuff. We watched kind of on our computers and stuff like that. And Sam didn't even pay attention really to it. And then we connected the computer to the big 70-inch TV downstairs and decided to watch when the good stuff was coming out. At that point, the excitement was definitely there. Something was coming because they had already announced there's 10 productions in the works with it. And I think that one of them is they're not really counting in that list. And we'll talk about that when we get to it. But that was when there was like, what the heck? I mean, what did you think when they finally said 10 new Marvel, 10 new Star Wars?
I was like, oh, that's cool, but I didn't hear the whole in the next 5 years kind of part. I thought it was just going to be like, say, next decade, because it's the 2020 investor call, and that's kind of like the start of the decade.
Well, they do this call every year.
Yeah, I know, but I was just wondering.
Yeah, I was like, we're not going to be pressed for things to talk about on the podcast.
The Star Wars fan content world is going to have a lot to discuss.
So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first.
And we're going to try to discuss all 11 productions. That doesn't even count The Mandalorian. Can you believe that?
Holy crap.
We're going to talk about that in this episode.
You know, we were all worried about, next 3 years without a movie. What are we going to do with ourselves?
That's not going to be a problem. But here's what's going to happen with our regular episode, where we're going to do some hot takes on Chapter 15 of The Mandalorian. We may talk about a droid. I was thinking C-3PO for this week. We're going to record that and have it ready to go for Thursday. And so what this is going to end up being is it's going to change. Probably we may not even talk about C-3PO. Let's make it a Mandalorian episode. And we'll do a recap of Chapter 15, our thoughts on that. And then we're going to do predictions for the season finale of The Mandalorian, Chapter 16. Okay, we want you to be a part of this. So we want you to give us your predictions for the Season 2 finale. And you can call in to our voice message number 321-262-0892 and give us your predictions for the Season 2 finale of The Mandalorian. Again, that number is going to be 321-262-0892. Get that to us by the end of the day Tuesday. We need it in by the end of the day Tuesday. So you've got about 24 hours to get us those predictions. And then we will include some of the more interesting, exciting, or hilarious ones in our
as long as they're family friendly.
Yeah, I mean, of course, all the rules with that. Okay, so by the time you hear this show, dozens of podcasts with hosts and guests who are, let's just be honest, a whole lot more interesting than we're going to be, have shared their hot takes on all the new series, all the films announced at the Disney Investors Day. I've listened to a bunch of them. They've been fantastic. So what we thought we'd do is we'd take a step back a bit for a few days and let ourselves think about things, research some things, let some other people come up with some good information for us to share.
Yeah. Do the work for us.
Do the work for us. And then share our thoughts. So instead of these being our hot takes, which is what we normally do, let's just go ahead and call these our lukewarm takes. You see what I did there, Luke?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like a tauntaun.
This is where the fun begins.
Well, you want the bad news or the really bad news?
Impressive. Every word in that sentence was wrong.
All right, Rogue Squadron. This was a surprise. This was a big one.
Yeah, I did not see this coming at all.
From StarWars.com, the next Star Wars feature film will be Rogue Squadron, directed by Patty Jenkins of the highly popular Wonder Woman franchise. The story will introduce a completely new generation of starfighter pilots as they earn their wings and risk their lives in a boundary-pushing, high-speed thrill ride and move the saga into the future era of the galaxy. What was your guys' initial reaction to this surprising announcement?
I was really excited to hear this. I was mostly excited by the fact that we're going to see a new era. We're going to go even later in the series, which is good. But what's also good is it's not going to be tied to Skywalkers. This is going to be its own thing, which will be fun. So we're getting a new era. We're getting completely new characters, and it sounds like it'll be a kind of a fun style of show. We've gotten Westerns in Star Wars now, right? We've gotten the classic action adventure. That's Star Wars, right? We've gotten the war film with Rogue One. Now we're getting the fighter pilot, movie, like Top Gun in Star Wars. That's going to be a lot of fun to see, I think.
Yeah. I was mainly nervous when I heard about this. I was excited that we were getting a new film released in theaters. I was very hopeful for that. But then I heard the director, and I got nervous because I've only seen one thing from
Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah, that was the only thing. And so I got a little bit nervous that she wouldn't be able to capture Star Wars in the way that we've all come to love. And then then I saw her excitement.
Yeah, I mean, she put out that clip right as they were announcing the film. She put out a video clip on Twitter. It was fully produced. She was ready to go. I'm sure this had to go through Disney and Lucasfilm. They had to know she was going to put this out because in it you see like Star Wars gear and an X-Wing. So this was obviously a planned thing. But she shares her excitement about directing the film. Listen to what she says.
I love to move fast and speed of any kind. I think that that's because I grew up the daughter of a great fighter pilot, and every day I would wake up and go outside and look up, see my father and his squadron taking off and their F-4s roaring across the sky, and it was the most thrilling thing still I've experienced in my entire life. So when he lost his life in service to this country, it ignited a desire in me to turn all of that tragedy and thrill into one day making the greatest fighter pilot movie of all time. But try as I might and look as I did, I couldn't find the right story ever. I kept looking and looking, but I just couldn't find the right one until now. Now I found a movie about two things I love. So I'm going to see you very soon.
Yeah, she walks off wearing an X-Wing pilot outfit and to an X-Wing fighter with this. So.
It just seems really exciting. She loves this. Apparently, she's had passion to do a fighter pilot movie for a long time. And now that she's finally able to do it, I think that she will put all of her excitement into this movie. And that's definitely something we need to be looking for. We need more Star Wars fans kind of leading Star Wars.
What was encouraging to me, I thought it's cool that she's got a family element to it. I really like that. It's inspired by her dad. But what is interesting to me, what's exciting to me, is the fact that she's like, I've wanted to make the best fighter pilot film
I was thinking the same thing.
But I haven't found a good story. And interestingly, that story came from Star Wars. Now, I'm sure she was offered a fair bit of money to do this, but I don't think that that would completely influence her decision. I think that she had to want this story.
Well, she's known as a director in only taking movies that she's passionate about. She won't take them for money. She's been offered opportunities to do things that would have been considered an amazing opportunity that she's turned down because they weren't stories that she wanted to tell. And so for her to associate this without a doubt, wanting it to be the best fighter pilot movie ever, and it happens to be Star Wars, that's pretty exciting stuff. Now, there's this idea that, that's called the Rogue Squadron with it, which is a really interesting thing because it goes back to a series of video games and books that were released during that Legends universe time. And Jenkins gave an interview with IGN.com about these connections, in which she said, in the Star Wars Rogue Squadron movie, we're doing something original with great influence from the games and the books. There's a lot of things being acknowledged and understood about it, about the greatness of all of those things. But yes, it's an original story, and I'm so psyched to do it.
Yeah, I think they're taking... Well, okay, I'm not super familiar with the Rogue Squadron games.
Yeah, neither am I.
Do we know if they take place? Do we know when they take place?
Yeah, they started. The first Rogue Squadron game sort of takes place during the original trilogy, and you've got some Hoth elements, and you've got some of those things. Because we see Rogue Squadron in Hoth,
right.
With that, and then it carries all the way through, and then it continues on in the books and the games into sort of the New Republic era after Andor and those types.
I think that this is going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to take too much inspiration from the games just because, the games didn't have the story that she's going to be working off of in this universe.
But the books built off the games.
Okay. Well, even then, this is taking place after this last sequel trilogy, right? Which the games and the books weren't a part of. So I think that they're going to take inspiration from it, like certain elements and themes and ideas, but I think it is going to largely be its own story.
Now, you said something there, Nate, speaking to this, where it comes out of the statement that it's going to take place, it's going to take the saga into the future era of the galaxy, and it looks like this is a Resistance era fighter, on the logo for Rogue Squadron. Do you think that we're correct in our assumption there?
100% do. I'd like to see the stories that happen after the Skywalker saga's over. Finally, we get to see stories of other characters, and it's just we have never really had a down-to-earth story of just the fighter pilots. I mean, we got it with Squadrons finally.
To an extent, but it wasn't much.
But the story wasn't the thing that they were going for. It was more the multiplayer. And so having a story that's focused on the fighter pilots and on just a certain squadron trying to fight their way through the galaxy, and after Skywalker Saga, it's going to be great to see all of that.
If it's anything like Top Gun, I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Is Poe coming back?
Post
return, Rise of the Skywalker. General
I would love
Poe.
that. I would love him to be more like the instructor, though, not the main character, but just kind of like the
a character in that's there. He's got a few scenes. He's kind of like the Leia. Of this
to an extent. I think that would be fun. The mentor.
Yeah, the mentor. Yeah. Just like the training.
Can they bring back Finn and Daisy in this? Or John Boyega and Daisy?
Maybe, but they'd have to. I don't know if they
again very small little roles where they're in a few scenes, but they're not the primary full.
I don't know if it would fit well, and I'm not sure they can get them to come back.
I don't think they'll be able to get him back, and I just don't think it would feel like great.
In that style.
Well, Rogue Squadron is scheduled to hyperspace into theaters for Christmas of 2023, but there's a lot more Star Wars coming to carry us through. We've got this thing called The Acolyte. I am super intrigued by this. This is the Leslie Headland series that's been talked about for a few months. They announced that she was going to be doing some things.
Totally random thought, sorry. But I wonder if they gave us all this news now through that investors call because we didn't get a Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah, I think that a lot of this was going to be announced at Celebration. Absolutely.
Anyway, sorry,
exactly
totally random.
Yeah, Leslie Headland, she's the Emmy Award nominated creator of the mind-bending series Russian Doll. Yeah, I haven't watched it, but I've heard it's fantastic. Brings a new Star Wars series to Disney Plus called The Acolyte. The Acolyte is a mystery thriller that will take the audience into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era.
Now, this sounds very exciting. We're finally getting a thriller in Star Wars. We haven't really had that very much except for books. We've had a few thriller books for Star Wars, but they were all legends. So this is the first thing we're talking about in canon that's going to be like this, and I'm excited. She's apparently done a mystery thriller before, so she's really fans are really excited. Fans of Star Wars that have watched Russian Doll are really excited about her. Well, good.
Interesting. Yeah. No, I think that's fun. We're getting a lot of new genres coming to Star Wars, with the thriller genre now. I think that'll fit well if they get the right director, which I believe they have. I'm curious to see where they go with that. We're finally getting something on the screen for High Republic. Even though it is the end of High Republic, it is High Republic.
Which is also interesting because we were led to believe that the High Republic stuff was going to only stay in comics and books.
Yeah, well, that was first debunked when Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. The first thing we got from the High Republic was not in the books. So
interesting,
and it feels like it'll tie really closely into this series, judging by everything we've heard about it.
Maybe.
So it's spawned a lot of theories and thoughts. Of course, we know absolutely nothing other than end of the High Republic, female-led, Sith, dark side stuff, and the word acolyte. And so the timing of it and the Sith element, the timing of being at the end of the High Republic has created a lot of theories regarding Darth Plagueis. One of those, easiest one to use is this tweet that was put out by Patrick the Hutt. I thought that was appropriate, Samuel.
Good name.
His tweet says, they said the Acolyte takes place near the end of the High Republic era. It's a show from the Sith perspective as they try to rise again. Maybe the Acolyte is the master of Darth Plagueis. On that. And then Den of Geek expounded on these ideas as well. Before Palpatine set his plan in order to take over the galaxy, then there was his master, Darth Plagueis, who had aspirations of becoming immortal before his apprentice murdered him. And we don't know exactly when Plagueis was born in the Disney canon, but his birth date in the classic Legends continuity was sometime between 147 and 120 battle before Yavin, which would make him at least 20 in the final days of the High Republic era, which ended in 100 before the Battle of Yavin, if Disney were to give Plagueis a similar backstory.
I think, well, it's female-led, though, isn't it? So...
Could it introduce the character of Plagueis?
Okay. I think they could bring him in, but I don't think it would work for this. If it's going to be female-led, it would be too difficult to have...
It would be an overshadowing character.
Correct. Yeah, I think that it's going to have to be something else. Maybe they bring it in as like an announcement, like kind of like what they did with Ahsoka, like a backdoor pilot almost, if that makes sense. Kind of bring the character into live action, say, hey, this is a thing, this more might come from this, but I don't think the story can focus on that because it would overshadow the main plot.
I don't know what to think about this because I don't think that Plagueis will be in this series at all. I think that it's going to be about just a different group of Sith enthusiasts that have taken the dark side as an ability and a tool. I don't think we see Palpatine even as...
Yeah, I don't think we can see Palpatine.
No, because even if they had a subplot of Plagueis training Palpatine, that would overshadow the series. People would be waiting every week to see that instead of the main series because people have been wanting that for so long. So... Like Sam said, they may do a backdoor pilot leading to a Plagueis series or movie even or something, but I just don't think that we see anybody but the characters that are going to be.
This if the timeline of the age of Plagueis is similar, is in the same thing, that puts him very young at the time.
Yeah, 20 years is not very old.
What if this acolyte is really a Sith? Like a Sith Lord. Do we know in canon, have they ever said in the new Disney canon who Plagueis' master was? We've got the book, but that's Legends. Do we have any? No. Bane's thousands of years ago.
So the rule 2 was already established.
Oh, yeah. It's been established for 1,000 years. Yeah. So I'm wondering if this acolyte, maybe she's a female Sith, and maybe she takes on an apprentice in some of the later episodes or whatever, and that apprentice becomes Plagueis. We may not even know that name until the very end is changed to Plagueis because he hasn't taken on
the Darth
and then that is a backdoor pilot to be able to.
It could be something like that. I could see that.
That could work.
It could happen.
I think that would be a lot of fun. And it's interesting because the title's being acolyte. The definition, the Webster's dictionary definition of acolyte is a person assisting the celebrant in a religious service or procession. Doesn't this kind of remind you of some of the exegol stuff with the cult there?
I don't think it could be Plagueis' master then, because this is like just a person assisting the cult. It's almost like someone who would be working with, like if we were going to say that Plagueis' master is in this, it almost seems like this series would follow someone who is working with or serving under the master. So I don't know if it could be that, because it seems like an acolyte is a sub level or something.
Yeah.
That's why I keep saying that they're a Sith enthusiast that takes on the dark side as a tool and goes and finds relics for maybe somebody that they know that gave them training to be a dark side wielder. So the thing is we don't know anything about this, and we don't know
anything more. Everything is speculation.
Yeah, so we have no idea where to go from here.
But there is this concept that's in canon right now. It comes from the Aftermath trilogy of books by Chuck Wendig that take place immediately following the Battle of Endor and all the way through the Battle of Jakku. They're a fantastic series if you read them all as one story. Really are good. And there's this group within them called the Acolytes of the Beyond, and they were a group of dark side fanatics who existed during the Galactic Civil War. And after the death of Darth Vader on the Battle of Endor, these Acolytes of the Beyond purchased what they believed was the fallen Dark Lord of the Sith's lightsaber, intending to return it to him in death. I'm not sure. I don't remember how that works in the story. But 2 months after purchasing the lightsaber, these acolytes then staged a revolution on Coronet City in Corellia. And then prior to the Battle of Jakku, acolyte cells throughout the galaxy launched a series of coordinated attacks against New Republic enclaves and outposts on various worlds, including Deveron. And we also know that Ochi of Bestoon, from the character that was referenced consistently in episode 9, was a part of this group. What do you think about that?
Yeah, this could be setting up that group. This group could have existed all the way through from
the end of the High Republic all the way through.
Right. And I think that could work if it's just a group of fanatics who aren't necessarily users of the dark side or wielders, but subscribe to its beliefs in an extent, that could work, and it would bring in the DLC from Tales of the Galaxy's Edge which
I still haven't played.
Right, which I won't spoil, but basically there's all these artifacts and stuff, the Sith artifact or whatever, and they could use the acolytes to bring that in because they're hunting the artifacts and stuff.
Yeah,
that fits what you were trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, the Tales from the Galaxy's Edge thing just feels like it'll connect with this so much. It's High Republic. It has to do with a relic and a dark side relic.
It'd be a thriller.
It does feel like they're trying to interweave things more even than they have in the past now.
Yes, and I mean, they even tease more High Republic stuff in the Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. It's the next DLC, so we might be seeing lead-ups to or talking about this acolyte group in there, and so I do think that we'll be getting more of that.
Awesome. Well, there's no timetable for the release of the acolyte yet, but the series was announced several months ago, even though it was unnamed. So it's more than likely that this series is going to be coming probably in 2022, or I would say even more likely 2023. A series that we know is coming sometime in 2021 is Star Wars The Bad Batch.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. The series follows this elite and experimental clones of the Bad Batch, first introduced in the Clone Wars, as they find their way in a rapidly changing galaxy in the immediate aftermath of the Clone Wars. Members of Bad Batch, a unique squad of clones who vary genetically from their brothers in the Clone Army, each possess a singular exceptional skill which makes them extraordinarily effective soldiers and a formidable crew. In the post-Clone Wars era, they will take on daring mercenary missions as they struggle to stay afloat and find new purpose.
I am excited for this. I loved Bad Batch from the beginning. Some people were kind of on the fence about it in season 7 just because it didn't seem like it fit, but I loved the character.
Seems like everything in season 7 was just set up for things that were coming.
Right. So I'm excited for this. Kind of, well, we'll get to that, I guess, but I'm very excited. It looks gritty. It looks like it'll be on par, like quality level, with season 7.
It looks like it's just a follow-up.
Yeah.
It's the next season of Clone Wars is what it visually looks like.
Yeah. And it was such a fun group to watch work together, so more of it is not going to hurt. And the casting, you won't need much cast. You just get D. Bradley Baker for everything.
Exactly. It's going to be cheap.
Yeah, so when I heard about this, I was a little bit disappointed because, of course, I always wanted a Rebels series, an animated follow-up, because I wanted to know, but at least we got Ahsoka, so
we'll talk about that
later. But I'm excited to see this. I'm excited to see. I don't know. I'm wondering if they're going against other clones. It sounds like they are, but it looks really good. It looks really like they're saying, okay, Clone Wars is done. We'll give you a soft lay down with another series. It's a lot like Clone Wars.
Well, did you see the way that the logo appeared?
Of course, yeah.
It fades out. It's the Clone Wars logo that gets burned through with Bad Batch.
Yeah.
They're saying this is the follow-up to Clone Wars.
Right.
Yeah.
On it. And we did get some real content with the announcement as they showed the first trailer for the series, and it had lots of really fun, juicy nuggets to discuss. The Bad Batch's ship heads towards Kamino, the homeworld of the clones. It first appeared in live action in the Attack of the Clones and appeared in the Clone Wars many times after that. There is an interior shot that might be that famous training room.
What was that? Domino Squad?
Domino Squad was the famous episode for that. With that. And then, lots of connections to their cloning world. Do you think that cloning is going to play a role in Bad Batch?
I don't know if cloning itself will play a role. Sorry, I stole Nathan's thunder. He was like ready to talk,
this
and then
is
I totally
second time, okay? No, I'm just joking.
I don't know if cloning itself is going to take a front seat in this. I think the cloning, well, actually, now that I think about it, maybe not. Maybe they'll talk about how cloning is over at this point, how they've stopped, because
maybe we'll find out why the Empire doesn't clone anymore.
Right, because in like the beginning of the Charles Soule's Darth Vader comics, they talk about how they've done cloning, so maybe we see that. Maybe that's why they're going to Kamino, and maybe they're there to help train the last batch or something.
Yeah. I think that if they do go and find the last batch, wouldn't they be working for the Empire? Because they would have probably already had the chips.
The last batch of clones?
The nachos?
No, the brain chip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that the last batch of clones would have the chip or whatever.
Yeah, so that means that they would be getting trained for the Empire. That means that there would be a whole batch ready, new clones for the Empire.
Oh, we already know that there were some clones scattered
left
throughout
over,
the Empire.
but we didn't know that there were like a whole new fresh.
Well, I mean,
right
let's
off
go back
the
to
press.
you remember a few weeks ago, J.G. Cars tweeted out, and we talked a little bit about it on the show. Is it possible that the Bad Batch actually is the ones that get Grogu out of the temple, and they're hiding him away? Could this? I mean, it didn't really feel that from the trailer, but do you think that's maybe what they're trying to do? This connection here?
Well, I mean, we didn't really get much idea for the plot whatsoever. We just saw a little. It was basically a sizzle reel. We just saw like little fun things that caught our eye. We didn't get anything story wise.
Fennec.
Yeah, but with yeah, that's true. I didn't even put that on. here.
I was wondering why you didn't put it on there.
That was on this list of things, but
they're really interconnecting this new content.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. And do you think Ming-Na Wen, voiceover actor, played Mulan?
Absolutely. I think it'd be stupid.
But if there was Fennec Shand and there was Grogu, then I think that she would have noticed another little green guy.
Good point.
Well, she doesn't see him in chapter 5 of The Mandalorian. No. She only sees him in this
latest episode.
In chapter 14.
Getting taken away. That is very
She hasn't said anything about it. It's interesting. All right. Yeah. There's an animated shot of Emperor Palpatine declaring that the Republic has become that famous theme for Revenge of the Sith, the first galactic empire. Whatever. Yeah. It would be logical to conclude that Clone Force 99 has made that transition, so they're part of the Empire now.
Are we sure?
But the trailer seems to show that they might be in direct conflict with some of the clones. Is the Bad Batch going to flip sides?
I think that part of me wants to say yes. That's kind of what the idea of this is, or of this series is. They're hiding from the Empire at this point. But that also could be classic misdirection. They've done that before. If that is the case, that does kind of put a pretty serious hole in my theory that Clone Force 99 is Scar Squadron, Stormtrooper Task Force 99. Kind of is impossible at that point. Maybe what if towards the end of the series, Clone Force 99's gone haywire, right? They've defected, and the Empire decides we need to take these guys down. So they, with the last batch of clones, make another bad batch,
genetically modified bad
which
batch,
becomes the Scar Squadron, and they hunt them down.
That'd be interesting. What do you think?
That would be fun.
I've always thought that this genetically modified batch didn't have inhibitor chips because
I got the impression from season 7 that they took them out. That they knew about them and took them out.
Either they knew about them or they didn't put them in there because that would have
messed up.
They make their own orders, and that's what makes them such a good team.
Yeah, they do their own thing.
Yeah, so I don't think that they've ever had inhibitor chips. So
do they flip sides?
Work.
Do they switch over to the Rebellion?
I think so because they were while they were brutal.
Got Echo on the team too.
Yeah, while they were brutal and got the job done, they also very much believed in the fact of the Republic and that they were doing good. So the fact that they're turning into this galactic empire ruling everything. That's exactly what the Separatists were.
Yeah, they did. They seemed to have their own moral compass that they were following.
For like a good solid 2 years, they were fighting against these people, and now the people they were working for are turning into those same people. So I don't think that we would go with that.
Yeah. The closing shot of the trailer has that, amazing evil genius Grand Moff Tarkin praising Bad Batch. You think we're going to get a lot of Tarkin in this series?
No. I think that we'll see. Maybe that might be the first episode. They do a mission. They notice this isn't right, and then defect the next one, or at the end of that one, and then they're like,
"Oh, I think it's going to take a while."
I don't think so because, well, at least that's the transition point because they might be doing a couple missions and they might like kill innocents or something, and they're like, "This isn't right," and then they go back and get praised for it. They might be like, "This is wrong," and then defect because. That's probably what'll happen.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll get a lot of Well, he may be the main antagonist of the series. Say they go rogue or whatever. Maybe Tarkin is tasked with hunting them down, so we see him in that role. which I certainly wouldn't mind. He's an interesting character. We got him a fair bit in animation so far.
We've got him a few episodes of Clone Wars, some pretty critical episodes of Clone Wars, and then
on and off in Rebels.
Yeah, he had some moments.
So I think it would work.
Well, it's exciting to get more Star Wars animation. Bad Batch is set to release late 2021. Everyone's favorite scoundrel, though, Lando Calrissian, will return in a brand new series event for Disney Plus called Lando. Justin Simien, creator of the critically acclaimed Dear White People and a huge Star Wars fan, is developing the story. The series has been rumored for a while. No cast was announced. But Billy D. Williams did tweet out an article about the show the next day, and we've talked about ideas for this one before. What do you think about the Lando series?
I definitely think that most of this takes place before Solo, because we got one look at a concept art, and it still had the Millennium Falcon having the
if Lando has the Millennium Falcon, this is going to be a show I'm going to be very much into.
But do you think it's like Calrissian Chronicles, and he's going through his past tales?
Now, we had a theory about this. So we talked about when this was first rumored. Do you remember?
Vaguely.
Okay, so you got Old Man Lando, Billy D. Williams' version of Lando, with Jannah remember at the end of Rise of Skywalker, he's like offering to help her find her family. We've always wondered, it sort of was rumored that we were going to find out eventually that was his daughter that was stolen. We know that happens in Rise of Skywalker, but I don't think you could just like, oh yeah, you're my kid. Okay, great. You're my dad. Let's, be friends from now. I think there's got to be a journey where they find this information out. So the idea would be every episode they're moving moving towards some resolution, discovery of who her family is. But meanwhile, he's telling stories about being a young Lando with it. And then we see those stories playing out with a Donald Glover version throughout the entire episode.
So it's like two concurrent
like an opening sequence with Jannah, old Lando talking about something. And then he starts telling the story, and then we see the story playing out with Lando. As Donald Glover version, and we have some L3 and all that fun stuff. And then it closes with some new step in the story with old Lando and Jannah, and then it moves to the next episode. What do you guys think about that?
I really like that format. I think that'd be a lot of fun. The storytelling format.
It's kind of Chronicles of Young Indiana Jones type.
Yeah, exactly. I would like that a lot.
Yep. That's all we've got on Lando. They didn't give us much.
They better bring... they'd be stupid to not bring Donald Glover back, though.
Yeah, I don't think you could do a Lando series without him.
Yeah.
With it, and it's like we're not going to see the series for several more years. So let's talk about something else.
Be positive.
Well, it's just the way it is. We've got this new one that they talked about. Set Rangers of the New Republic. It's set within the timeline of The Mandalorian. This new live action series from executive producers Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni will intersect with future stories and culminate in a climactic. Gosh, darn it, climactic. I'm tired. Into a climactic story event. Talk about it. There, go.
I really like the idea of this, intersection between the stories. I think we've talked about how we've wanted this content in the Disney era of Star Wars to become sort of like the MCU. Everything's kind of interweaved together with movies and TV, and there's like elements of each show and each other show. So them talking about that, this is the first we've heard them mention that sort of concept. That's exciting, and it'll be interesting to explore this timeline.
At any point, it's Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. So I think we can be pretty excited about it with that. What do you think about it, Nate?
I don't know. I really don't know what climactic event they could be talking about. I mean, if it was big enough to put 3 series in it, why haven't we heard about it before? We've had 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. We're going to have a season of this and then a season of Ahsoka. Maybe more seasons of those before you even get to this. And I'm just wondering what it could be. I'm excited for it. It's going to be the Avengers of Star Wars, which we've been wanting for a long time.
I'm not sure about that. Just like the MCU,
like
it all coming together. Yeah,
okay,
all solo series going into one for
a few of them at least.
Yeah.
The Filoniverse is what some people are calling it.
That'd be fun.
With it, and again, everything in this series right now is a guess. But it's possible that this Rangers of the New Republic will center around this group called the Sector Rangers. They're sort of intergalactic police force that was established during the Galactic Republic prior to the Clone Wars. It kind of sounds like, what they would do is they were like a detective force, a police force investigating, crime and different things within it. It almost like a Law and Order in a galaxy far, far away. Yeah.
But, okay. Somebody said Park Rangers in the New Republic.
So we'll get a Parks and Rec in Star Wars?
No, that's not happening.
But
do you think like a detective-based
detective crime show?
So we've got thrillers, we've got the fighter pilot series. Now we're going to have a detective show.
That's strange.
See, there's one of two ways I can think about it. The Sector Rangers things makes me think from the Old Republic time, or the Galactic Republic period, reminds me of Law and Order or that type of a detective series.
They better have the whole like the whole talking before each episode. Yeah,
that whole thing.
Yeah, they better have it. Otherwise, I'm not watching.
But then this Rangers thing reminds me of like the Wild West and the Texas Rangers,
what I get.
And then it fits more into the Mandalorian stuff with what's happened with Cara Dune and Marshall, and but this world. Do you think which way would you see it going more?
Can it kind of go both ways? Like, aren't Rangers sometimes like, don't they like have mysteries?
So it's like Chuck Norris, Walker, Texas Ranger, but in space?
Yeah.
All right, I'm in. All right.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, since Rangers is being produced by the amazing team of Favreau and Filoni, it's possible that this galactic, climactic, massive super event is going to intersect with another show that the team is producing. Ahsoka is getting her own series, so it's time to begin speculating about her and Thrawn and Ezra. Where's Ezra Bridger? And Star Wars time travel. And that's up after this short break. All right, after making her long-awaited live-action debut in The Mandalorian, Ahsoka Tano's story, written by Dave Filoni, will continue in a limited series starring Rosario Dawson. And it will be appropriately titled Ahsoka.
Whoa.
Yay. Finally, we're getting something after Rebels that has to deal with Ahsoka and hopefully Ezra and Thrawn.
It's almost certainly associated with Thrawn.
I'm sure, but...
yeah, I mean, that was... That episode of The Mandalorian was a setup for this.
And that's what everybody said when it happened.
Yeah, if she's looking for Thrawn, then she's looking for Ezra. So I am really excited that we're getting something else. And I'm also really sad that we're probably going to have to wait a couple of years longer for it. It's been...
I think it's in production.
It's been since, 2017 since we've had anything Rebels?
Yeah, 2018.
Yeah. I'm very excited for this. I think if it's anything like what we saw in Mandalorian, it's going to be a lot of fun. I think people will get more and more used to Rosario Dawson playing the character. It'll start to feel more and more like the Ahsoka we all know and love. I think it's going to be fun. I'm excited to see her trying to hunt down Thrawn. I'm excited to hopefully see Thrawn in live action. I think it's got a lot of great potential.
Great. Well, the logo for the show is giving me some really major world between world vibes. Mm-hmm. Others are saying it resembles the logo for Jedi Fallen Order. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I can see the similarities between Fallen Order, but the coloring gives me more of a world between worlds vibe, that white solid
and the
lines.
Connection with Ahsoka.
Right. So I think it makes more sense that it would have something to do with
Ahsoka lives in the world between worlds.
Yeah.
For years.
Do you think she travels it frequently?
I don't know. How does she get out? Remember at the end of Rebels, she goes out.
Yeah.
Exactly. What do you think about the world between world things?
I'm excited that we're hopefully seeing more world between world things. Maybe she uses it for information as to where Thrawn is. More kind of like a detective, keep going back to the crime scene to be able to figure out what happened. But I really don't know what we're expecting with this series. It's another one of those that we have nothing on. We know it's set during the same Mandalorian timeline. That's it.
I don't want it to turn into Star Trek, though, with all this time travel stuff. I mean, it was tasteful. It was well done in Rebels. But if it becomes overused, it could get dangerous.
Yeah, it's certain the story, though, is going to be, center on that big reveal from Chapter 13 about Thrawn. The question is, for us, at least, whether this series takes place after the events of the series finale and the epilogue there. Does it take place before or after the epilogue? the Ahsoka stuff that we saw in Mandalorian, this series, is it happening after the epilogue of Rebels or before the Rebels epilogue? What do you think?
It's possible.
It's possible. Possible. It's possible.
I really do think that this takes place before, but really, really close to it, because maybe she got information and she's like, okay, I'm going to get Sabine. We're going to go hunt down Thrawn, and then that's the start of the series. We're probably going to get some Sabine as well, and we're going to see a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I hope it's either close to the epilogue or after. But I have a feeling it will take place before. I think it's going to pick up right off the heels of The Mandalorian, and
then at some point go get Sabine, and we see that happen in live action.
Right.
That would be pretty cool. Now, here's what's interesting. There's the scene in the epilogue where Ahsoka's ship is coming to Lothal, and she's being escorted by two X-wing pilots, two X-wing fighters. Are they the Dave Filoni and then the other one that have been in The Mandalorian? Are they escorting her, do you think?
Well, there's just a lot of X-wing pilots, so
I think it'd be pretty cool.
It'd be fun. It wouldn't hurt anything.
And then that could introduce the Rangers of the New Republic, if they are the Rangers, because they're going around to every other place.
Yeah, I don't think Dave Filoni's going to have a long time career in acting. But
no.
But bringing him in.
The thing is they are Rangers. Like, they were like, hey...
They did feel like
we don't know what your ship is, and then they're over here on... What is that? I forget.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Okay. Well, we think the series is coming sometime. Maybe, we're hopefully, we're like optimistic. It could come
2021.
In 2021. It's probably going to come sometime in 2022. We have absolutely no clue when the next film after the 2023 film, the Rogue Squadron we talked about earlier, is coming, or even what it's all about. But it's being made by Taika Waititi. That's about what we know.
All right.
So we could just move on, or we could have some fun with a couple of the images that were up there. Here's what we do know. It's being called a brand new Star Wars feature with acclaimed filmmaker and award-winning Academy Award winner Taika Waititi. Kathleen Kennedy described it this way. Taika's approach to Star Wars will be fresh, unexpected, and unique. His enormous talent and sense of humor will ensure that audiences are in for an unforgettable ride.
This is both really exciting and also slightly worrying because, okay, he did great in Mandalorian. I don't remember exactly which episode he did.
He did the last episode, and he did the final episode.
Yeah, okay, it was great. Absolutely
and he
phenomenal.
did another one, I think, as well.
So he did great, but looking at the pictures, like the logo that he has for Star Wars, and it's going to be fresh, unexpected, and unique. That could be great. Could be a lot of fun, but it's also a little scary. He took, we're going to go Marvel here.
Yeah.
He took Thor in Thor Ragnarok in a completely different direction than he was in the previous two movies.
And for the better.
And it worked so much better for the character. The character was way too serious. I don't know if that would work in Star Wars, but I think he loves the Star Wars, and I think he knows what he's doing, and I think they wouldn't hire him for this if they didn't know what he was planning.
Yeah, I think he's a genius director. He knows what he's doing. I feel like he loves Star Wars as much as the next person, and that he doesn't want to hurt it, and he kind of even poked fun at it with his tweet. We'll talk about that in a little bit, yeah. But I'm like Sam said, I'm overly excited about this and completely terrified that he's going to go a direction that we are not ready to see yet.
Yeah, Star Wars fandom isn't ready for as a group. Yeah. Okay, so there's this image of the Star Wars logo that was up. It was sort of neon colors, and it had sort of this
like 80s.
Schoolhouse Rock 80s vibe to it. But doesn't it also almost have sort of like a prehistoric vibe to it, like caveman times vibe to it?
Like a Flintstones
like
vibe.
a cartoon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a cartoony prehistoric. I don't think it's going to be a cartoon. But this sounds
like a Saturday morning cartoon vibe to the logo.
Well, I was thinking more like prehistoric, like ancient, like cartoony.
Like Flintstones.
Yeah, like the Flintstones with this, which sends you back a long ways. And the reason I bring it up is because the graphic also that Kathleen Kennedy used while describing the Taika Waititi film bears a striking resemblance to the cover of the Dawn of the Jedi Into the Void Legends novel. It's from Tim Leben, and it tells the story of Jedi Lenore Brock, or actually not even a Jedi. She's a member of this ancient Jedi. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's like got an apostrophe and an extra an A and an I. Jedi Order. And here's the description from the back of the book, at least a section.
The back of the book.
The back of the book. Well, you know,
read
like
the back of the book,
and we win, and the Jedi win. When you look at the back cover, it has the description of the book. Okay, this is from it. On the planet Tython, the ancient Jedi Order was founded, and at the feet of its wise masters, Lenore Brock learned the mysteries and methods of the Force and found her calling as one of its most powerful disciples. But as strongly as the Force flowed within Lenore and her parents, it remained absent in her brother, who grew to despise and shun the Jedi, and whose training in its ancient ways ended in tragedy. Now, from her solitary life as a ranger, keeping her order across the galaxy, Lenore has been summoned by the Jedi Council on a matter of utmost urgency. And the reason that this ties in is, again, the image that was behind Kathleen Kennedy as she talked about this had this like diamond pyramided spacecraft coming into a planet, which is the almost identical on the cover of the Dawn of the Jedi. What do you guys think about this?
I am really excited for this film. Of course, this is purely speculation. If it's following even closely to this book, I think it'll be great. It'll definitely excite those people that read Legends. They've been asking for more content. They've been getting some. But, I mean, in a film and following a very popular book would just be great for them. I'm also excited that and who knows, maybe it's a red herring because this guy is a comedy and he might just be screwing with people. And so you never really know what it is. So I don't know, but I'm just really excited for this film.
Yeah, I think the connections there you can't ignore. But what's confusing to me is if you say you go with this story, it's like the beginning of the Jedi, right? I don't see Taika as the type of director that would work for that kind of film. I don't feel like that kind of film requires a lot of comedy to it. I think it's supposed to have this serious feel to it. Maybe he's able to pull that off. It's, but he is generally a comedic director. So it's a little concerning if they go there, but
maybe these are the questions that Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy were asking when he was pitching this. And so they brought him in to do this final episode of season 1 of The Mandalorian because it's not a comedic series episode.
No,
it's got a couple elements, but it is a heavy, dark, tragic IG-11's tragic, ending and some sacrifice and all of that. Maybe they brought him in to say, can he do what he's trying to do? Can he tell that kind of story?
And he has such a wide palette of things. Like he's done so many different types of comedy movies. Yep. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, one of the things we do love that you mentioned it is his humor. He went to social media this week, right after the announcement, to poke fun at not only himself, but often, or at least at the too often overreactions of Star Wars fans. In reply to the official Star Wars announcement of the series, Titus replied on the
Taika.
Gosh, I cannot read tonight. Taika replied, what? Ugh? As a longtime fan of Star Wars, I'm so angry about what I'm going to do to it.
About what I'm about
to do to ruin it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's what kind of calms my fears about it. He does love Star Wars.
And he does understand the fans. Right. If he's tweeting that out, he understands
So he wants it to be everything it can be, and that's comforting.
And I don't know if I would say comforting, because if the first thing he posts about it is a comedy thing and it's supposed to be a little serious.
No, that's his personality.
I know, it is his personality, but who knows? Whatever. I'm excited to see this because he's a great director and I think he'll do fantastic.
Again, nobody's sure if it's coming in 2025 or 2027 or whenever. But the next two series we need to get through pretty quickly because we're like 50 some minutes into this episode and we've got like the biggest story still to talk about. Star Wars Visions is coming, presenting all new creative takes on a galaxy far, far away. Star Wars Visions will be a series of animated shorts celebrating Star Wars through the lens of the world's best anime creators. The anthology collection will bring 10 fantastic visions from several of the leading Japanese anime studios, offering a fresh and diverse cultural perspective to Star Wars. Real quick, Nathan, what do you think about it?
I'm really excited for this. I'm sure there'll be deep stories and they'll probably be really good lengths. I don't know. But if it's anything like this Batman Gotham Knights anthology of stories that were anime told in different styles. If it's anything like that, it'll be great because those were great.
Yeah, they may be able to get me to watch anime with this. I've never watched anime, but this sounds interesting, and
it's Star Wars anime,
right. It could be a lot of fun. I'm excited for this a lot.
Yeah, Star Wars and anime seem like an easy partnership to me. The next series announced after that's going to take advantage of the most celebrated partnership in the saga. It's a droid story. As Lucasfilm continues to develop stories, the intersection of animation and visual effects offers new opportunities to explore. And Lucasfilm Animation is teaming up with Lucasfilm's visual effects team at ILM to develop a special Star Wars adventure for Disney+. It's called A Droid Story. And the epic journey will introduce us to a new hero guided by the legendary duo of R2-D2 and C-3PO.
I got no clue what this is, when this is taking place, but all I know is it'll be fun. It'll probably be geared towards kids. So it's going to be a fun little adventure with lots of misadventure to it. You know, they're going to be getting into all sorts of trouble. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm super excited for it.
I think it's just going to be a whole series of the droid arc. So get ready for that.
It's a good point.
But no, I'm really excited for this. Of course, I love droids, and I'm so excited that we're getting a whole series dedicated to them. I think it'll just be a lot of fun. Like I said, we just need more fun in Star Wars, so that'll be good.
Well, you know, R2-D2 and C-3PO are on the Mount Rushmore of Star Wars droids. Some might put K2SO on there as well. We didn't really hear anything about him in the talk about this casting series, but we did get some more information about it, including the official title, which is Andor. And the description is a tense, nail-biting spy thriller created by Tony Gilroy, who did all the Bourne movies, which we love.
Yes.
It's set to arrive on Disney Plus in 2022, so we know it's coming in a couple of years. Diego Luna is reprising the role of rebel spy Cassian Andor from Rogue One, and he's going to be joined by a fantastic new cast that includes Stellan Skarsgård, Adria Arjona, which Entertainment Tonight Canada actually did a whole article on her stating that she was in Rogue Squadron, and it messed me up today. Fiona Shaw, Dennis Gow, Kyle Solar, and Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma. And then they've already been in production for a few weeks, 3 weeks with it. What do you guys think?
We better see some good chase scenes. No.
Oh, yeah. Space chase. Yeah, let's do it.
I'm really excited to see this. Apparently, the director really likes using the last name of his main characters to be the titles. But a spy thriller in Star Wars. We're getting a lot of different tastes for Star Wars and everything.
Yeah.
But I'm just really excited for this. We're finally getting a movie. This is a series, actually.
It's a series, yeah.
A series that's just going to be taking advantage of the fact that they're using different directors. So I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, if it's anything like Bourne, this is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, Tony Gilroy was the one that was brought in to rework, let's be kind, Rogue One, when Gareth Edwards had some struggles and they didn't like what they saw at Disney and Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
They brought in Tony Gilroy to rewrite things and fix it. And he's basically credited within the film world, people that know, as having like saved that movie and turned it into what it is. So I'm excited to see him in there. We did see a pretty cool sizzle reel with some behind the scenes on the production. Lucasfilm is it's treating Andor like it's a feature film. It's got all the concept art, prop building, full creature team. Looks like they're going all in on this. They have a smaller budget, but much of the time you really couldn't tell from what we saw in the clips that we were seeing and what they were trying to do with it. We also know that they've built an even larger volume in London, which a bigger volume and shooting in that means we're going to get Mandalorian or better quality from this, which is exciting. And it also looks like Andor is going to involve a lot more practical sets, and lots of those looked distinctly Rebel like in this. What do you guys think?
I still remember when we just had left the tour from Lucasfilm with Matt Martin, and we were literally driving back, and they announced that this is in the works.
Star Wars show announced it.
And we were like, did you know?
And he's like,
yep. And
the thing is he came from a meeting, and that was the meeting.
Yeah, that was the meeting. So
it's kind of cool to start seeing it like come to fruition.
It is pretty cool.
This is going to be a lot of fun.
I'm really excited for this. It's just that's all I can say.
Movie quality, which is going to be nice.
I mean, that's why I got it confused with the movie, because because it looks so real. And they're even saying we spent so much time on this series, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope that the story is as good as Rogue One. I'm sure it will be. And I mean, we got to see where it goes from here. I mean, we have nothing else.
Well, if you're taking Tony Gilroy and spy thriller,
then you'll be good.
Yeah, and then you're putting that in Star Wars. I think it's going to be pretty fun. With the Andor scheduled to release sometime in 2022, don't know really when. Just before another series that's going to include a very special character that has fueled a lot of speculation over the past few days. Last August at D23, Lucasfilm announced the return of Ewan McGregor in the iconic role of Master Obi Wan Kenobi for a special event series, not a full series, just a special event on Disney Plus. Officially, that was announced this week. Officially titled Obi Wan Kenobi, appropriately. Series begins 10 years after the dramatic events of Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith, where he faced his greatest defeat and the downfall and corruption of his best friend and Jedi apprentice, Anakin Skywalker, when he turned into the evil Sith Lord Darth Vader. The series is going to be directed by Deborah Chow, who helmed memorable episodes of The Mandalorian Season 1.
So this is going to be a very interesting series. We don't have the genre this is put in. We don't know what the plot's going to be. We don't know what he's going to be able to, what he's doing on Tatooine. But it just sounds really exciting. Deborah Chow did fantastic episodes on The Mandalorian. She wasn't, of course, able to come back for season 2 because of Obi Wan Kenobi. So it's just, I don't know what to expect with this. I remember the announcement and freaking out that we were finally getting Obi Wan Kenobi back. But we'll just have to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be everything that Star Wars fans have wanted from this Kenobi series. People have wanted Ewan to come back. He's coming back. We've been wanting to see what Obi-Wan's been doing this whole time. We're going to see that. We're even getting Darth Vader again.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the announcement went on to say. It says it'll truly be a day long remembered, as it was confirmed that Hayden Christensen will be returning as Darth Vader. Kennedy went on and said this will be a rematch of the century. And then Hayden Christensen had some thoughts about it. Said it was such an incredible journey playing Anakin Skywalker. Of course, Anakin and Obi-Wan weren't on the greatest terms when we last saw them. I hate you. So it will be interesting to see what an amazing director like Deborah Chow has in store for us. And I'm excited to work with Ewan again. It feels good to be back. And then Ewan McGregor said, the most beautiful thing of all is that it brought me back together with Hayden. What do you guys think?
I'm so glad that Hayden's getting the love from the fans again that he deserves. He was a little sketchy.
It wasn't him. It was that's been debated for 20 years, but but it doesn't matter.
No,
it's how you treat a person matters,
right?
And treating somebody that you don't even know over a movie like garbage, like they've done with Daisy, like they did with Kelly Marie Tran, like they did with Ahmed Best and Anakin, or with Hayden Christensen, is ridiculous. And so I think what you're saying is it's glad to see that he's back, sort of in the good graces of Star Wars fans. Let's keep him there, with it.
You were freaking out when this announcement happened.
Was I a little?
Oh.
Was I a little freaking out?
Yeah, a little bit.
I just sort of stood up, jumped around, danced, jumped up and down, pumped my fists, screamed.
Mm-hmm. Just a little bit.
I was excited. I mean, he hasn't had the best filmography. He also went and did a rom-com in 2018 that was terrible.
Yeah, he's done some movies that maybe aren't the greatest.
Yeah, but it's not really for his acting job anymore. It's for he played Anakin. This is his.
This is Anakin. This is his character.
This is his character, and him.
Let's write a great script for him. Let's find a director that is more concerned with the way someone acts a character than getting the shot filmed.
Mm-hmm.
This is not anything new. People know this about George Lucas. George Lucas just wants to get it filmed and move on.
Right.
With it. And so get a good director in there, get some of the right people in there, let them work with Anakin, let him redeem himself in this role. It'll be the redemption of Anakin Skywalker, or of Hayden Christensen, as he plays Darth Vader.
Right.
What do you think about them, the comments by both Hayden and Ewan about being able to play this together, act together again?
I'm sure they grew pretty close over those two films.
And then to see the backlash against Hayden,
I mean,
Ewan seeing that probably broke his heart because
he didn't deserve it.
No.
Yeah. So I think it's great that they're getting back together, even though they're going to be at odds in the show.
Yeah, well,
But
it's
it'll be
interesting
fun.
because we didn't get to see any of the footage because we don't own thousands of shares of Disney stock.
Well,
I wish
let's
we
get on
did.
that. Come
I
on.
wish we did, but at $400 or whatever it is a share, I don't think we can afford it. But the description of the footage that was shown to the Disney's Investor Day people that actually have the rights to see it teased a Darth Vader Obi-Wan rematch. And it says the duel is touted as the rematch of the century, and the concept art shown teases everything in that sentence. Deborah Chow went on so far as to promise the series will definitely see Obi-Wan and Darth Vader get into it again. As two lightsabers were clashing, one were red and one were blue. She was saying that on this in the concept art, teasing the upcoming duel with that. And then in addition to showing Obi-Wan on a journey that expands beyond Tatooine, that's interesting. More concept art showed Darth Vader atop a throne communicating with a hologram, likely his master Palpatine.
This is going to be very interesting. It's wow. I haven't heard any of this really before today, and so it's interesting that I heard about the rematch part. And like, how are they going to do that? Because didn't Obi-Wan say in A New Hope that this is the last time I saw I was a student, but now I'm the master? That whole saying, but just young Obi-Wan with Obi-Wan with a Darth Vader, a fight like that will be amazing. And if Ewan McGregor doesn't say hello there when he sees him.
Hello there.
No, I don't know if they'll cater to that, but I think that more Vader is never a problem. No. And
but how do you reconcile that line from A New Hope?
I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna. I don't know.
Well, maybe because I don't know. Yeah,
it's a weird situation.
It's going to rewrite A New Hope. Do you think that by the end of this series, we're going to go back and watch A New Hope and never think the same things again that we thought before?
Totally.
I hope so. I hope they go with that. I think that'd be fun.
And it might make everybody was like, ugh, the fight between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan was so underwhelming as to what we could do now. And I'm like, well, that was because it was older and they didn't have the same technology as freaking Revenge of the Sith. But it might make us look at it and be more appreciative of the simplistic duel that they had because of some past they rematch. So,
yeah, I think it's going to be friggin' amazing. I hope we get to see a full-on prequel level Obi-Wan Kenobi fighting style against a Rogue One Vader.
Yeah.
And it be a complete stalemate. Maybe we find an explanation for Obi-Wan Kenobi's words to Luke in Return of the Jedi when he's like, "This, I considered him dead. Basically, from a certain point of view, he is dead. He can't come back. There's nothing that's going to bring him back." Maybe he says that because he was on the verge of bringing Anakin Skywalker back to the light in this series. There was a moment when it looks like he's going to lure him out of the dark side, and then Darth Vader turns full on dark side and does something horrific.
Flips. Yeah,
and that seals the deal for Obi-Wan Kenobi, and that's why he's like, he's dead. He's dead to me. More than ever before.
I think that would be interesting. I would love that. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm just worried that one of these things that we've talked about will not be good at all, and it'll totally ruin.
Oh, you got to go there.
I'm just saying it's something that we have to address.
No.
It could.
It's going to be all amazing because it's all Star Wars.
It's all Star Wars, and all Star Wars is good Star Wars.
Amen.
Any Star Wars is good.
Yeah, it's been reported the filming is going to begin in January in England, but then on that Investors Day broadcast, they revealed that filming begins in March. It's probably because they're wanting to conclude filming the Andor series. There's probably a lot of cast and crew that are working on both, and so they need to give them a chance to move over. After nearly 15 years of waiting, what's an extra couple of months?
Right.
All right, is there anything else we need to talk about on this extended edition?
Anything else?
So, season 3 of The Mandalorian isn't being released until Christmas of 2021. So, y'all are going to have to wait a
Two more
whole
months.
year.
2 more months than we expected before.
Oh, no. I can't make it.
I'll handle it.
We're going to be getting plenty of stuff before then.
What is the deal in the Jerry Seinfeld world? What's the deal with the Rian Johnson trilogy?
Well, they haven't
taking
it's still
It's
up
still
there.
on the website, baby. So you're telling me there's a chance.
Right. That's basically where we're at this point.
And we're not sure if we'll ever see a Solo 2.
I know. I kind of thought they were going to announce it.
They didn't announce a Boba series either, and I'm upset.
It could be.
I don't know. I mean,
the Boba series
we might not, but I'm staying hopeful.
Yeah.
And Lando's good enough.
Yep. Well, we've got another show. It's going to be releasing on Thursday, and you're not going to want to miss it. We're going to be breaking down Chapter 15 of The Mandalorian, giving our predictions for the Season 2 finale. Just to make it easier on yourself, just go ahead and subscribe to the show and all of our socials. If you go to flow.page/Tatooine Sons, SONS, you can find everything that you're looking for there. It's in the show notes as well. It'd be easy to find. So subscribe, follow, do all that fun stuff there. Check out our T-Public store. It's great.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to this long edition of us talking about a few important things, not very many, but
just like the future of the saga.
Thank you for sticking through it. And sorry we didn't give very many of our theories. We just kind of talked about previous theories, but we expanded on them, and it's
got a couple.
It's exciting.
And thank you for listening to our weirdness. We're weird, and for some reason liking it. But we do this because of you guys. So thanks for y'all's support over these, this whole podcast. It's really what keeps us going.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for following on Twitter and your interactions and keeping it positive and Facebook and all that stuff. If you could not, stop there. If you guys have time and you want to, share this content with other people, it helps them find it. Encourage people to subscribe. And we got some fun stuff happening over the next few months. So we'd love to have you guys be a part of that. So thank you so much. Anything else you guys want to say?
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you always.
This party's over.
I like that Wookiee.
Don't get technical with me.
Join, please.
Yep, yep.